Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thanks so much for joining me here today. We're going to take another look at Alice, and just before we do, quick peek at Bitcoin, see what's going on with that. It is actually not performing poorly, right? For the last 12 to 16 hours, we can see the price increasing, right? It does keep testing the lower support level here at about 56,000. Also note, we have the simple moving average 50 working its way down concurrent with the descending wedge pattern. And this is usually a continuation pattern where you see the price come down, bounces up, and it keeps working itself into a wedge and effectively breaks to the downside. That's a very common characteristic here. Not saying that's going to happen, but it's shaping up to fulfill that potential prophecy, if that makes sense, right? It's like only about 60-70% probable that this could happen. That's more likely than not, though, if that makes any sense. So just be ready for the bottom to drop out for Bitcoin. This is partly the reason why I'm not sending out a tremendous amount of signals right now, more so swing trade signals that are a little bit longer, based on the simple fact that Bitcoin hasn't truly found its bottom yet. If this is the bottom, 56,000, great. We got to wait for the price to be back over that 50-day simple moving average and to hopefully close above 60,000 and have some type of confidence moving forward. Not feeling very confident. We got low volume, the price action is decreasing overall. Not great position for Bitcoin. So just bear that in mind. That's kind of what's going on with Bitcoin. Also, too, just before we jump into the charts here with Alice, I want you to know I'm not a financial advisor. So if you're new to the channel, I really just like helping people become better traders. That's just kind of the bottom line. I love teaching people and I love counseling and helping people just kind of become truly better, more self-sufficient in any way, shape, or form, more so specifically with trading because there's a lot of financial independence that comes with that. Now, I've been trading myself for a very long time, over 15 years, and this is my full-time job. So if you want to jump into my Patreon community and consider joining, it'd be great to get to know you better and hopefully help you become a little bit better of a trader, right? We can always improve, even myself included. I learn something new every single day. So check that out in your own time. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the one-day chart here for Alice. Obviously, we're going to have to redraw out some Fibonacci retracement lines, and we'll go ahead and worry about that a little bit sooner, or sooner than later. We'll take a look at that later. But for now, just quickly note, we've got some obvious support and resistance levels. Let's see where these are at, the big picture. And now granted, the first day, I don't really count those as all-time highs. Really, it doesn't matter too much considering the first day is always very volatile. If we just kind of exclude that all together, we can see that the price is pretty much broke its all-time high if you exclude the very first 2 days of trading, right? That being said, the most recent high was August 28th, and today's high is breaking that. You can see where the one-day candlestick closed just barely above. That's exactly what I like to look for. That gives us that confirmation that we're moving in the right direction, and the price likely came down to bounce off that resistance level, current support level now, and move forward. So all good things there. We can see some great stuff for Alice. We're above both moving averages, and of course, on the one-day chart, we can see the price action trending higher, which is fantastic. Honestly, RSI over 70 is great. That basically just reaffirms that previous resistance level is now a support level at 70 on the RSI. So that just confirms the fact that we're looking at about, round number, just say $24 as the current support level moving forward. All right, so good enough. Good stuff there. All right, so we'll take a look at some smaller time frames next. Let's go ahead and see what the 4-hour tells us. We're above both moving averages, is awesome. You can see this nice little bounce here off of support, which is excellent. And of course, that consolidation at the resistance and then bounce above, came back for a nice little leg up. We can see that better on a shorter time frame, but that's really, really awesome stuff here. Why don't we go ahead while we're here, mark out some Fibonacci retracement levels and kind of go from there. Look how awesome that is. This lower Fibonacci retracement level, basically the baseline where you start the Fibonacci retracement, I put it all the way to the highest point, and look at that. One of the major Fibonacci retracement lines fell right on that previous all-time high, which is essentially the new support level. So that just reaffirms the fact that 2392 is a very, very strong support. So if you're going to have a stop loss, just below that point would be advantageous. And obviously we can see this other support level as well, working pretty close to about 2150. So we got some nice, healthy support levels here for Alice, which is really good. So all in all, in very good shape. Let's take a quick look at TD sequential, and you can see we're at a 9. So we're kind of in overtime, but you keep in mind we've had a decent amount of consolidation right here. So I am not concerned too much with us being at a 9 and the price not counting or getting reset yet, based on the simple fact that we have what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 4-hour candlesticks worth of consolidation, right? So we're looking very, very good in that sense, to be able to have some sideways action and be able to allow the price to continue to increase. That all happened right at the previous resistance level, current support. So all good things here for Alice. I'm not worried about this. I think we're going to get a reset anyways, with the price coming down just a little bit. So the bottom line is that really doesn't matter. I think we're probably going to see continuation of the upside here soon. Taking a look at the 1 hour chart here for Alice. Let's go ahead and see some of the obvious indicators here. So here's one thing that is, there's both good and bad on here, right? Okay, so let's look at this. So for the Ishimoku cloud, if you're new to the cloud, the price above the cloud is check mark number 1. So you want to make sure that if you're taking entry, the price is above the cloud. Furthermore, we want to make sure that the price is above the actual baseline, which is this lower level here, this lower line. And then I also want to make sure that the price hasn't intersected with the lagging span yet. So this lagging span coming over, if it intersects right here, that might be a consideration to consider trimming some of your position or exiting a position. Again, Ishimoku Cloud is a very conservative trading style. You know, if you follow it to a T, like me, for example, then you're going to get into trades that are moving in the right direction you want to head, and you're going to get out before they start to turn around. That's kind of how it works. Keep in mind, it can get you out of a position sometimes earlier when there's a continuation, and it'll just keep going up when you would already exit your position. But you've still taken profits by that time, right? That's kind of where I like to go. I prefer to take a 5 to 10% profit based on the amount that I'm leveraging or using in capital instead of ride it out for a full 50% like some people will do. Yes, that's all well and good. Don't get wrong, there's nothing wrong with that per se, but I like to take money while I still can. I hate leaving money on the table. That being said, Ishimoku Cloud is great about that. In other words, it helps more conservative type trading styles. So if this does come over and intersect right here, so to speak, and come down, then we're going to be able to see a good consideration of maybe exiting our position. So we're kind of right in that gray area right now. We could leave it open, totally fine. But in about 5 hours, if the price doesn't increase or go much higher, then we probably want to consider exiting because it's going to reach that state of potential exhaustion, and we might see a turnaround from there. So just note that is a potentiality, and we'll see what happens there with that. But for right now, we're still in bullish territory, and I don't think we have any significant indications to sell just yet, but I just want you to be aware of that. Looking at TD sequential though, on the 1 hour, we can see we're at a 9, pretty much getting a reset and going sideways. So this is healthy because if you take a look here, we've got an increase. This is basically the perfect staircase pattern that I like to look for in bullish momentous trends. So this really helps me understand that we're in really good shape here with Alice and the fact that the price should continue to increase. But it really depends on if the price wants to bounce off of here or if it comes down to this lower level. If it comes down to this lower level to test the previous support, add to your average, dollar cost average, nothing wrong with that. Still a good position. However, everything comes with a grain of salt. If we lose either of these two support levels, we just need to kind of pay attention and reevaluate at that point. Not that that's a bad thing, but if we start making lower lows and lower highs, then there's obviously a shift in momentum. We have more bearish divergence, and it changes the scenario a little bit. But right now, we haven't seen that happen. So if in a perfect world, the price continues downwards, consolidates right here at about $25.73, and then continues up to the upside here to essentially break right here and then continue on like this, right? It's basically doing a really awesome pattern. Like if you see the pattern it's forming right now, if we were to kind of copy that over, you can see that's going to give us a nice little continuation to the upper Fibonacci retracement levels. So I'm confident Alice will continue to increase, but we got to kind of wait and see what happens in the very near future. If it starts making lower lows and lower highs, I think we should consider trimming our position, kind of waiting it out. But just know that $24 is a very strong support level. Heaven forbid we lose that support level. We do have a nice secondary right around 21.30. Okay, so all good things here for Alice. And I would say big picture, it is very realistic to consider a scenario where we can see somewhere around the range of about $38 by month end. I think that's very realistic. And I'm saying month end, just kind of keep it loose, because I don't like to kind of give you super optimistic estimates because I'm more conservative myself. I think that'll happen if we get some consolidation at support, and that would be important. Also note too, we've got 1, 2, and 8 on TD sequential in the 1-day chart. Okay, so this isn't necessarily the same coin as some of the other ones that are taking off, right? It has different qualities. Therefore, I would recommend considering that maybe the next 24 to 40 hours might be the top for now until it reaches just a little bit more consolidation and goes sideways. So if all goes well, Alice goes sideways for about 4 or 5 more days and then legs up to $38 in 2 or 3 more days after that. That would be awesome. That's what we want to see. But again, Mostly bullish indications here for Alice. I don't foresee it turning around hard. If it were to, once again, $24 would probably be a worst case scenario in the immediate future. So I'm going to set an alert for 24 and see where we go from there. Once we hit that alert, if that were to come up, I will reevaluate this and take another look and see if it's worth adding to our position and if we want to continue back to the upside. I think it would be, just based on this consideration that it's worked at a really strong support level. Any all-time high, or most recent high rather, they will always work as very strong support levels once broken. You can see that the way that it consolidated right there at that resistance too was a very healthy continuation. So all good things here for Alice, very bullish, and I hope you find this to be beneficial. If so, join my patron community and or consider liking and subscribing. Comment below if you got into Alice in the single digit range. Good for you if you did. Continue to hold, because honestly I do think that it's absolutely worth big picture. It will probably get a lot bigger than this right now. All right, so again, we're setting our sights on $38 in the next week or two, and from there we'll go ahead and see where we go at that point. Thanks again for joining me. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see ya.